Interesting. You want to kill the Venerable Knight. That's fine. At least their draw engine. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for taking the time to watch Hello Good Game. Today I'm sharing with you how I was able to crack Mythic rank about 1500 within Magic the Gathering Arena. I did it within one day. If you've been following my channel, I've been in a little bit of a weird place recently, so the content's not been great. But what has been great is I've been playing Magic the Gathering Arena, you know what I mean? Without the camera in my face, without the obligation of creating specific tailored content, just playing the game how I was originally brought into it. And, it actually felt really good. This was maybe a little bit of therapy that I needed. And yeah, with that out of the way, I hope you guys are ready to reach Mythic rank in Magic the Gathering Arena because it is very easy with the progression and the deck that I'm going to share with you guys today. So let's get right into it. If you find any value within this video, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, share to a friend, and of course, hit that bell icon for more. Anywho, we're playing with mono white aggro today. No surprise here. This is a deck that I've been flexing with a lot recently. We've just been dialing in the play lines, and we are running at a 77% win rate within Mythic rank, climbing to there and still staying in there. So a very strong deck. These matches are very quick. It's very consistent, and they're pretty easy to map out as far as the play lines go. So we'll break down the deck list here really quickly, and then we'll talk about some of these strategies and synergies, and then we'll jump right into the gameplay footage. 3 copies of Giant Killer. It should be called Omnath Killer, really. This can kill anything for 3 with chop down with power 4 or greater at instant speed, which is really, really nice. There's not so many things that you'll see like that in the meta right now. Xerath, I believe, is another a frequent flyer that chop down seems to hit, but primarily it's Omnath. This is the Omnath Killer, and whenever your opponent gets a blocker in play that's got power 4 or greater, that's probably going to stop you from being able to attack a little bit, unless we have flying, right? And then we do use flying within the deck specifically to get evasion damage through. So if your opponent has a creature with reach, right, maybe the Ancient Greenborn is like a 5/6 with reach, I believe, this is going to be a perfect card to nip that right off the field, and now you can still get in with your flying attackers. It is also a 1/2 in which we can pay to tap target creature. This is great once it's on play because we can wait till our opponent's end step. If they left a blocker up, we can tap it, and then on our upkeep we untap our Giant Killer, and then we can tap another creature, right? So that will allow those attacking lanes open up again. So it's about flooding the field with creatures, opening up your attacking lanes, and just getting consistent damage every turn that your opponent cannot keep up with. Our next card in the deck is Selfless Savior. This is a 1/1, and we can sacrifice it. Another target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. We're going to be stacking our enchantments. Like, I think we have Maul of the Skyclaves here, if you're unaware, somewhere. This is normally a negative aspect to the game. Auras are not good. Equipment is not good because you're giving your opponent the opportunity for a 2-for-1 via removal, because if we have a creature and then we put an aura, enchantments, equipment, anything onto it that doesn't give it hexproof or indestructible, something like this, now our opponent can snag that creature, and they just got 2 cards for the cost of 1. So this is where Selfless Savior comes in handy, because it can at instant speed be sacrificed to give another creature of ours indestructible, and therefore protecting our stack, which is really nice. We have Venerable Knight ×4, a 2/1, and when Venerable Knight dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target knight you control. Venerable Knight is the only knight within the deck. It's a 2/1 for 1, so the aggro damage is actually pretty nice. There's different routes you could go with this card. This is kind of the wild card within the deck. I like the Venerable Knight just because you're getting the most aggro possible. But we've had people mention, Outside of Life's Bounty is really good, right? Because it's a similar sacrifice effect like the Savior to give protection. So that's nice. And it also has life gain if you find yourself in another aggro on aggro matchup. But at the end of the day, we do have some other stuff for that in our sideboard. So in the main board, we're not trying to cover all of our bases. We just want to do our best ourselves. And in this case, that's why we're running Venerable Knight, because it's a 2-1, and then you can stack them up, and when they get removed, they're going to make the other copies stronger. So that is probably the best pick aggro-wise. And then you could potentially, if the meta was filled with you know, other aggro decks that you couldn't keep up to, they're killing you first, now we can maybe look at adding some life gain, but I don't think we need it here in our main board. Into our 2-drops, we have Shepherd of the Flock. This is a 3-1 with Usher to Safety for 1 at instant speed. Return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. This is absolutely amazing if your opponent is playing any adventure spell. Typically, the adventure spell hits, it does a bunch of value, and then they get to play it later as the creature, and that's the regular value, right? If you take the target away from the adventure spell, it goes directly to the graveyard. The whole spell just fizzles, the spell and the creature, right? Absolutely amazing. Woof, right? So it's like they would normally get a 1 for 0.5, I guess, and now you're actually kind of going 0.5 for 1, right, as far as the value factors go that I make up in my head. So Shepherd of the Flock is great. It's a 3-1 blade, so it's really tough. Like Venerable Knight, you can get that consistent high damage in if there's no blockers. Plus, we can equip it with the Skyclave to put it in the air, which is really nice. Plus, it also has that interaction to screw with some of the top decks that we're seeing within the meta. Seasoned Hallowblade. This is my favorite card. Oh my gosh. You know, we had Adanto Vanguard used to be the old one we had, and it was similar. I think you paid 4 life to give it indestructible. Here we're discarding a card, which is way better. That's way better than paying 4 life in my opinion. So we tap it, it gains indestructible until end of turn. If your opponent plays Shatter the Sky, Storm's Wrath, anything like this, you can just, you know, tap it, discard a couple cards that you don't need, and they'll all gain indestructible. The rest of the creatures die, and you can keep doing damage, which is really, really cool. This also makes it a great target for our Maul of the Skyclaves, because now, you know, we can easily just tap it to gain indestructible whenever they try to remove it. We're still susceptible to bounce spells, which is another reason that Outset of Life's Bounty may be beneficial if we see more of that take place. But again, that's going to be a decision you'll need to make as an individual. Luminarch Aspirant. This is a very good card within the deck. One of the biggest engines, I'd say. A 1-1, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Obviously, you want to try to get the Aspirant above 3, above 4, so it's dodging any removal damage that your opponent might have. Maybe they've got the Spike Field Hazard, then it needs to go to 2. If they've got Shocks and Bonecrusher Giants, it needs to go to 3, right? If they've got Scorching Dragonfires and that kind of shenanigans, it needs to go to 4. And it could potentially even need to go to 5, but the 5 damage removal is very rare. 4 is even pretty rare. You'll know if your opponent's deck has that or not, just based on the environment, the metagame that you're playing. So, you know, kind of determine what deck you're playing against, and then decide, do I need to push this card up, or are they going to remove it anyways? If they're going to remove it anyways, let's talk about Dimir Rogues. Just target removal, right? Destroy target creature. Any deck that's like that, could be Jund, whatever. Then you're probably going to want to put the +1/+1 counter on another low priority creature, because if you can spread your threat, that's better. They're going to remove your Luminarch Aspirant anyways. If you put the +1/+1 counters on it and they have to eliminate or something, they'll 100% remove it. You're making that decision easier for them to make. What you want to do is, if they do have single target removal like that, spread it. Put the counter over on a Venerable Knight, right? Something that they don't want to remove, or want to remove less than the Aspirant, and now this other creature is been buffed up, doing all this damage. It's like, well, I should probably address that, but there's this there's this Luminarch Aspirant over here that I know I need to address, so it's going to make that decision-making process harder for them, and there's going to be room for error, and you're not just kind of green lighting them to directly shutting you down, right? Kind of at least making them pick a door at that point. Moving on, we have a single copy of Kabira Takedown and Kabira Plateau. You can enter it tapped. It will add a plains or a white to your pool, and then on the opposing side for instant speed at 2 mana, dealing damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target a creature or planeswalker. You know, that's great. Instant speed removal for 2, but you're going very wide with the deck. It's not uncommon to have 4, 5, 6, 8 bodies on the field, and just instant speed for 2. Take out any one of their defenders, anything that's going to have a direct negative impact on you and your game state. I want to come back to the Luminarch Aspirant for a second. The most ideal creature to put the +1/+1 counters on is the Seasoned Hallowblade because of the aforementioned indestructible ability, and then we're not going to be losing those counters, and we can just keep this Hallowblade big and tough, right? Moving on, we've got 3 copies of Glass Casket, an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or less until Glass Casket leaves the battlefield. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. There's, you know, plenty of things this takes, and again, we talked about just opening up our attacking lanes. This is going to help us get there. You know, you're taking your opponent's removal, you're taking your opponent's draw engine. Obviously, you want to take any engine that you can that your opponent is trying to focus on. It's also great in mono red. Snag that Annex instead of destroying it, right? And that's just going to shut your opponent down quite beautifully. Moving on, and speaking of shutting our opponent down quite beautifully, Archon of Emeria. Sorry, landfall. Oops, my bad. This is also very good against adventure. Also, spell slinging decks like the Is It spells, if you do come across those, because they want to play more than one spell per turn. This is not going to allow that. It's a 2/3 with flying. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. You can cast 1 on your turn, you can cast 1 on your opponent's turn. Non-basic lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. Fabled Passages coming in tapped. You're not sacrificing that bad boy this turn, right? That's pretty cool. That offsets them a little bit, right? You know, any of the scry lands, anything like this. I guess the scry, they're already coming in tapped. Anywho, you know, the pathway lands are a good example then, right? Not to mention it's a flyer with evasion, and the adventure decks, you know, Evolve to the Wilds, right? They cast Evolve to the Wilds, they'll play a land, they'll cast something else. Let's just slow that down a bit, right? Moving on, and not looking to slow it down, we're looking to speed it up here, right? Slow your opponent down, speed yourself up. Maul of the Skyclaves. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, has flying and first strike. Woof. It can be removed, and then it still remains on the field, and we can re-equip it to another creature we control for 4 at sorcery speed. You know, this is very good. We can put this, like I said, on the Venerable Knight. It becomes a 4/3 flying first strike. Get him, boy. The Shepherd, this can go on. The Hallowblade is our ideal drop. You know, it can go on the Shepherd, but the Hallowblade's even better to put it on because it'll survive. And again, that becomes a 5/3 with flying, and then we have the Luminarch Aspirant, which can put +1/+1 counters on it as well. So you can see how excessive the damage output within this deck is already just by turn 3. Speaking of pretty cool things we can do on turn 3, Skyclave Apparition. This is a sleeper. Not enough people are using this. A 2/2, and when it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target non-land, non-token permanent your opponent controls that you don't control with converted mana cost 4 or less. It's a 3-drop. If you're playing on par or even behind par, this still hits perfectly, right? If you're on the play, you're ahead of your opponent, they're never going to have a 4-drop out. They might ramp into a 4-drop, but then you're still just scooping it up. You can have them drop Omnath ahead of curve and then just take it away from them. Yep, absolutely. It's one of the greatest cards. You can take Clovers. You can take literally any high priority permanent your opponent controls, and then just, you know what, even if it does get removed, it's not like they get that permanent back. It's not like Glass Casket. When it's removed, they just get their thing back. All they get is this XX Blue Illusion, where it's equal to its converted mana cost of the exiled card that we originally took. So this is massive upsets. If we don't have to take something that's not on the board, like a Clover, this opens up our attacking lanes again, right? It's all about just consistent damage output, and if they've got one Lovestruck Beast or whatever it is as a defender, 5/5, no you don't. Those lanes are open. We're coming on over for Thanksgiving dinner, right? Moving over, we have Legion Angel. This is a 4-drop, another sleeper that not enough people are using yet, and I think that this is going to almost be in every deck, kind of like Companions got abused. I think this should probably be abused. A 4/3 with flying, and when Legion's Angel enters the battlefield, you may reveal a card you own named Legion Angel from outside the game and put it into your hand. Just splash white, put 1 angel in there, and have a bunch in the sideboard. The downside here is it dual white, red's 2 colorless and 2 plains or white source, so it kind of makes splashing it a little bit harder, especially if you want to be dropping it consistently on turn 4. We have 2 drops here, so it's not a consistent drop, and you know, a lot of people are like, well, why don't you run 1 and have 3 in the sideboard, open more room up? The 2 in the deck makes it pretty consistent. We should always kind of always have one around around our 5th turn or something, ideally. And then that will just play itself and play itself and play itself, and that's great. We've got a single copy of the Stampede, sorcery speed for 5 creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. It's not that bad, right? It's expensive, but at the end of the day, if you have 5 mana and top deck this with a field full of creatures, absolutely, you're going to use it. And we also, on the opposing side, the MDFC coming in tapped, adding a white to our pool or our plains. And then, of course, we have 2 copies of Amira's Call, the Bolt land. We have to pay 3 life. If we don't, it comes in tapped. And on the opposing side for 7 sorcery speed, creating 2 4/4 white angel warrior creature tokens with flying. Non-angel creatures you control gain indestructible until your next turn. So you get it on your attack phase if you want it, or you can hold back and you can defend with indestructible and then attack, which is really, really cool. These spells are accompanied by 18 planes and 3 Castle Ardenvales in which we can tap for 5, creating a 1/1 human token. And then playing traditional standard today, looking at the sideboard, we have 2 containment priests. This is going to get rid of Genesis Ultimatum primarily, right? We're not really seeing any mutate. The Sterixes aren't around, but the Genesis Ultimatum is still around, and containment priest is going to ruin their day because it's a 7 drop. So they're going to just get to 7, play it, and they're not going to have any other mana, right? So we're just going to drop this into play once they're totally tapped. And their whole Genesis Ultimatum basically does nothing, which is pretty cool. They'll draw a couple cards, don't get me wrong, but it's going to ruin their day for sure. We have an additional Glass Casket. We're not going to talk about that. Revoke Existence. There's just certain enchantments and artifacts that you have to go for. The Great Henge, Shark Typhoon, right? There's some really good enchantments and artifacts within the game right now that you need to take out. It won't pick up Embercleave. It's sorcery speed. I mean, it potentially could, but you've got bigger problems if it's already entered play. And potentially you could grab the Clover if you wanted, but it's not a good conversion, but it is a way to deal with it, right? And when we're adding the Revoke Existence onto things like our Skyclave Apparition, it does become more conceivable to be able to deal with all of the Clovers, or 2 additional Archon of Emerias, right? When we do have those matchups where your opponent's looking to play multiple spells per turn, they've got landfall, they're utilizing the passages and lots of non-basic lands. And we stack those in there. The Idol of Endurance, whenever we are getting massive wiped, this is a go-to for me. When it enters the battlefield, exile all creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard until Idol of Endurance leaves the battlefield. And then for 2, plus a tap until the end of turn, we may cast a creature spell from among those cards without paying its mana cost. Obviously, the mana cost is only going to be 3 or less, so we're not getting any huge gains here, just 1 mana off. But it's good, right? Replaying things like our Skyclave Apparition, right? Like our Archon of Emeria, like our Seasoned Hallowblade. There's a lot of really good things that we could replay if our opponent does have that consistent removal and they just won't let off of it. Lava Brink Venturer. This is interesting. I like it against Adventurer decks as well. Petty Theft is even. Bone Crusher Giant is even. They do have odds like the Lovestruck Beast and the Beanstalk Giant, so you're gonna have to make the choice right away. I played a match against Jeskai and they had a lot of evens, right? Shark Typhoon, all of the tokens were even, Narset's even, stuff like this, Petty Theft, so while you're playing that first match, kind of take a tally of what's my opponent playing? Are these mana costs spread? Are all of these threats that I'm getting blasted with a certain even or odd, right? And then you can kind of sideboard this in for that. It's great, in my opinion. I've won so many matches with this Venture just because the opponent can't block, right? Or they can't remove it. All they have is, Nightmare Shepherd or something. Or not Nightmare Shepherd, Murderous Rider. And that's Swift End for 3. And if you've got odds and that's their only removal, there you go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We've got the additional Allegiance Angels, right, to pull from our main board, and then 2 Baneslayer Angels. So earlier we were making the argument for Alset of Life's Bounty for the life gain against aggro decks. If it's not an aggro deck in your main board, don't worry about it. Smash them. Just smash every single person like you're the aggro deck. Don't worry about aggro decks. You're the aggro deck. People need to worry about you. And now if it is an aggro deck, and they did give you a run for your money, mono red, Baneslayer Angel, right? Absolutely amazing. A lot of people don't realize why Baneslayer Angel is so good. They just think, okay, well, it's got lifelink against mono red. Absolutely amazing. What's even better than that is the first strike. Annex only has 3 toughness. If it's got double strike, that is first strike damage and then regular damage. Baneslayer Angel will trade with Annex, right? So we're only going to get hit. Typically, Annex hits as a 7-3 as the first go around. Maybe it's an 8-3. So, you know, we might take 2 to 3 damage, plus we gain 5 of that back. So we're actually gaining net positive when we engage with Annex with our Baneslayer. Yes, Annex hits for 3, Cleave hits for 4. You don't have your Slayer out till 5. I get it, but you should be able to interact with it a little bit earlier on to hold it up. And it's going to be that second Annex and that third Annex that you really start to shut down, which is pretty cool. So don't get me wrong, you're going to lose your Baneslayer Angel within the engagement, but Annex is gone, you gained life from the interaction, and now you get a turn to progress and you know, hit your opponent for lethal. So that's the deck list, that's the sideboard. I think we did our best breaking down all of that as we went through it in one. So the list and the strategies and synergies you all kind of got rolled together. We'll break down the gameplay footage as we watch it today. We do go, I think, 2 out of 3 best of 3 matches, you know, with a 77% win rate overall with this deck in Mythic. So an absolute banger. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share to a friend, and of course hit that bell icon so you're notified of all of our future uploads. You can support me financially on Twitch, Patreon, YouTube, the new Amazon link, yada yada yada. We're live on YouTube every morning at 6 a.m. Mountain Standard. We typically switch to Twitch. This week's been a little weird. I've been skipping the stream just because some personal anxieties. Yeah, typically we're on Twitch all day. You know, I do plan on getting back to that. And then we're back on YouTube at 6 p.m. Again, for this week, I've shifted down to 1 upload just in the mornings, but that is our typical upload schedule, and we will get back to it. So thank you again for your time and attention, and enjoy some of this Mythic Mono White Aggro gameplay footage. And don't forget to watch to the end so you don't miss out on some once-in-a-lifetime news. You guys know about it, right? All right, we'll see you in a second. Alright guys, I'm going to demonstrate how I got to Mythic this season with Mono White here. It's been a couple weird days for me personally, as my absence has probably been noticed a little bit. But I've been playing games just like without streaming or anything, and it's actually helped a little bit. It's not our night. But yeah, woof. I don't really want to complain too much, but it's been pretty weird. They can double cycle the Fox, take it to a 3-3 so we don't block. Two Foxes, that's great. That's Hallowblade, and then, you know, we've got a really good blocker on the Fox. Especially, I know people get upset with my mispronunciations. If they don't drop a land, then we're in really good shape. That's that third land, they paid for it. So, you know that is into their situation, and they don't even attack. Huh. This is really interesting to me. They would go for blood. Yeah, we should have played our land first, and then we could have shepherded it back. It's okay though. Let's preserve our H-Pizzles. We want to use our casket on the Luris, is the thing, right? If and when it hits. We're gonna try to get these Foxes above 4, take one out this way with our chop down from Giant Killer. Third Fox, oh lovely. 49 cards left in their deck. Probably sitting on 3 Zenith Flares as well. Too much of a good thing. They could have more removal. I kind of want to keep the Hallowblade just as like a chump blocker. They cycle Go for Blood. Interesting. It should have been pretty easy for them to get to like a 4/4, 5/5. So we see the foxes are tough now. You know, much tougher than we'd want. We do have our giant killer and our casket. Both might need to be used here. Let's let them make the first move. Right, these are big foxes, man. Toss our shepherd. Oof, if we're 10 still, that's crazy. Crazy! We need another land off the top. Without a land, we're screwed. Not really. I think we're screwed anyways, but... Okay, so here's our land. We're gonna keep Giant Killer chopped down for now. Let's take a fox. We could hit for 7 and take them down to 6. Oh, cancel. Let's hit for 4 down to 9. As long as there's no flare. You guys are looking for a free-to-play deck to reach Mythic with. The cycling deck is, you know, absolutely still viable. I have that on my channel in the free-to-play playlist. Check it out. Complete in-depth deck guide. You know, we're talking about the deck tech, the strategies, synergies. We got gameplay footage to showcase. We get to give indestructible to our blade just organically, so it will survive. Hopefully. Oh man, that's annoying. But we've already chumped all the damage. We wanted to use the casket for Lurrus, but it's just like, that's not gonna happen at this point, right? Woof. Yeah, he's gonna do it. Alright, down to 5. If we can top deck a Skyclave, right? A secondary Maul, maybe. Right? The Fox can't attack because we can pay to tap Lurrus. Right? Giant Killer for 2. We're at 9 and they have 8 in the grave. Okay, Rescuer. No Lurrus here, but we could tap the Rescuer. But now we're running into the problem of the 1/1 tokens that they can cycle into existence. Now that's gonna get messy. So that probably brings us back to needing the Skyclave. And actually we always would have, because Giant Killer has to tap that other target, so Here's all our cookies on the next draw. We do need a Skyclave. Wow, takedown actually might get us there. Wow, I don't even know what to say about this. Let's smash it. We get really lucky. Oh, what am I doing? Oops, that's the wrong creature. It only does 2 damage. Yo, Mythic rank gameplay for you guys. Yeah, we'll give it an oops there. That's on me. And now we're just dead either way. What we should have done is kill the rescuer and then chump block the fox and taken our strike. That's what I was meaning to do. Oh my god. So this is basically why I've not been recording my matches, because yeah, it's been a little weird for me. So it was annoying. Let's just take the time. It's a cycling deck, so Baneslayer Angel can come in, right? Skyclave is really good. So many things here are really good. The Archon of Emeria, I think, is really good. Then again, they're doing most of their stuff via cycle. So I think we just pop our Slayers in there, and if we can get them in play, that's basically GG's, unless the Fox is above us, or if they, you know, can go for blood it. But again, they'll need the Fox for that. Oh, I think we should be okay, generally, right? A little bit of a misplay there, but I think they probably had a flare in hand anyways. So it's hard to say. This looks great. If we can pull that third land, it's going to be even better. Two Skyclaves is exactly what we needed on our last go-abouts. We will keep our Aspirant as our counter magnet, just because we're going to be sacrificing our Selfless Savior when a Go for Blood hits play. Or the board, whatever you want to call it. I kind of like this version of the cat. It's pretty cool. Alright, Rescuer. That's alright. We should probably just take it though, right? They can't cycle right now, so let's just snag it. And that way, there's no chump blockers, and we should be able to consistently, well, hopefully consistently, get in this damage. Right, we can Skyclave our Aspirant here soon, and they've got nothing that Go for Blood is going to touch us with, right? No Fox off the start to kind of match our pace is very good for us. But, you know, we basically forfeited that first match, so. My turn. It does help a little bit, in my opinion, to show you guys that you don't need to be a perfect player to reach Mythic, right? Like, all the mistakes I make, it's not surprising. You know, you can be an average player and just try your best, and, you know, you'll get there. So now we're at 6-6 with first strike and flying. It's pretty cool, right? I think we have our opponent in 3. They will be gaining life, you know, maybe a little bit more than we'd like them to here as well through the Stinger, or sorry, the Healer. It could be... I still feel like we'll get them in 3, but I guess it could go to 4. Chump blockers for the Sky. That's pretty good. We really want our Archon out, I guess. But I guess Archon doesn't stop cycling though, right? They're only at 2 in the grave, so we're fine. I just want to keep the damage output going. Let's just spread the love, I guess, since there's one confirmed blocker. There could be two here. Oh no, they've got to draw their second, right? So they can't draw 2 cards with 1 mana. That I'm aware of. Playing our land, ending our turn. We do have lethal next turn, as far as I'm aware. Even if, well, no. No, we would have 11 because the +1 counter goes on something. But they'll probably have flyers too, though. So, no lethal next turn. Really weird. There's no way they have removal. They had that Scorching Dragonfire, 3 damage. Here's the Fox, okay. Maybe they will try to cycle it up and go for blood. We would need to be careful of that. Alright, here's that flyer. I don't think they can draw 2 cards on 2 mana on our turn. So we should still get 5 damage through. I think. Another flyer is good for the cause in general. Push up our dog. We should have pushed up the Archon, but I'm obsessed with damage output right now. Right? Because if we push the Archon to a 3/4, it would effectively dodge the Scorching Dragonfire or whatever they were using. Fire Prophecy is what they're using. Alright, so they did draw the 2 cards, I see. Good for them. It could get not good for us if they can continue to do that. Uh-oh. I mean, we're 16 life. 5 in the grave. Maybe we chump block. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, is we should have pushed up the Archon. That's basically just on us. Not good. So that wasn't a direct misplay, but at the same time it kind of is, right? It's just not as a hurtful one. Okay, that's a big hit. Now we need to be more cautious of what we're doing with our time. Where's that Baneslayer that we put into the deck? Take one of those right now. 4%? We're so close to dropping that. We're playing defensively now, which really sucks. It basically, I think, means we lose unless we top deck a land next turn. And then we might be able to make a push for it. Land or Baneslayer, anything else I think is just going to be disappointing. There's a good chance that this Fox can just take us out now as well. It's been able to get big enough. Disgusting. A lot of power for free to play. I think yesterday I was up around rank 1000 with this deck, just watching movies all day, just smashing matches. There's no way they do 12 first strike damage. Is there an Embercleave I don't know about? Right? I've never seen this deck run something like that, so quite interesting. There could just be a Zenith Flare on one of our creatures, right? That's how it would have to go. They'd have to use a Flare on one of our creatures here. But then if they use the Flare, they only have 1 mana, and they better also have a cycling card for 1 in their hand to make that all work. So they need to Flare, and they need to cycle for 1. No, they just cycled for 2, which means no Flare. Three mana. At what point do you think they will realize it? This could be our saving grace, right? Maybe that's how we make it through the second match. Everybody makes mistakes, that's the point, right? It's a friendly game, it's not that crazy. Let's get a land off the top. Oh, that's not a land, but it is good. Well, if it weren't for you meddling kids. Man, I should watch some old Scooby-Doo today. That might soothe the soul. You douche. Alright, so it still triggers, but my creature's already been removed, so I don't think they'll get a 2/2. I'm not 100% sure how that works, because it doesn't go under. It just leaves, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So because they did that instant speed, they don't get their XX blue illusion. Oh man, this is a bad situation. This is a bad situation we're in. We got 12 in the grave, 10 health. It's flare time, baby. Yeah, good game. So we're sitting still at a 71% win rate, and that's without all of my wins yesterday. So let's get a couple more matches in so you guys can kind of see how it will play out against some of these other top-ranked Mythic archetype decks. Woof. All right, that was embarrassing, right? We just lost against a free-to-play cycle deck. If you want to check that deck out, it's in my channel. Just go to my channel. Free-to-play cycling deck. Fucking destroys the game. Deep breaths. Okay. Interesting. Temple of Epiphany. We have Izzet Land in play. If we could just Skyclave these Hallowblades. Obviously, I'm going to play you know, the second one first, get the Summoning Sickness, so if there aren't any blockers, we can just really rifle in the damage on turn 4. I think it'll work, yeah. Oh no, stop it. Stop it. There could be flash, but I mean, might just be an Omnath deck, right? We do have a white, so blue, red, and white. So we're looking at Jeskai. This is Jeskai as well. I say Jeskai. Lots of people say Jeskai. I don't know. Whatever. Screw it. We're hitting for 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we actually just go in so we guarantee have lethal if there's some sort of wipe. Should have kept it in hand to discard, but if we draw land, we can Stampede. And that'll be fun. That's way more than lethal, but it'll still be fun. If he doesn't want to go big, baby. Yeah, we should be playing conservative. We should have kept that land in our hand so we had 3 cards in hand to discard to give all of our Hallowblades indestructible. That was the tech, and we probably lost the game because we didn't do that. This is a prime example. Play smart, don't be greedy. Alright. We could have had lethal. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying! Keeping the planes in hand this time. Right, we don't need it in play. We don't have to give everybody +2/+2. You know, it's the little things. It's funny how you always notice those little things the moment that you can't go back in the decision-making process. They could have petty thefts. We could have also played the planes and used it to Castle Ardenvale. It's a toss-up, right? So that's lethal, right? Worked a little better, and we even misplayed. So let's get after it again. Shatter the Skizai. Taking Lava Brink Venturer, giving it protection from even, so you know, the sharks can't block it, petty theft can't bounce it, and I guess it's double stomp, but that's a little bit irrelevant. I think the protection from even against Jeskai is very good, and we're gonna make use of that here. Good draw hand. I think on my way to Mythic yesterday, I probably only lost 3 matches. So the win rate on the deck, like you've seen, 70+%, is very, very high. Especially, you know, within Diamond and within Mythic. For an aggro deck, right? It's not like it's a control deck that consistently just squeezes wins out in 2-hour matches. It's can get those 2-3 minute wins. We have a Legion Angel, which is just like so underrated in the deck, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we don't want to play into a Shatter too hardly, but at the same time, we kind of do. Right? So what if they don't have it? Right? It's all about pushing that damage. What would be ideal is to get this Legion Angel out, draw another, and just kind of always have one in hand for the next one. And we will get it, right? You know, we have Selfless Savior. Oh, that sucks. Oh well. Maybe they needed that as the land a little later on, right? That could be a little bit of a misplay. Savior protects the Knight, doesn't really do much for us. If we can tap them out, because you know there's a negate, right? One of these cards is a negate. Let's take a look at their deck list. One of them's a Shark Typhoon. One of them's a negate. One of them's a Shatter. We have 2 other cards in here. What are they? That's what I think anyways. This draws the counter. They 100% need to counter this. A second Wari Disruption. Allows us to hit for 3. Not a good hit. Oh, here's the Stomp. Alright, so we're gonna fizzle that. Obviously, we would never let that resolve. So now the Giant goes directly to the grave. We hit for 2. It's not good. This is so over. Right, we're out of juice. Our opponent is playing a control variant, so... Leave us alone. There's that. Oh, a neutralize. Okay. So we said there was what? A negate, a Shark Typhoon, and a negate. That's what we're sitting on. That Shark Typhoon's gonna be deadly if it hits. We have no way to deal with it. Okay, Narset has 4 mana as well. So the even on that's really nice. Draw and discard. That's brave. It's brave. I hope you just got a land. Oh no! Into the royal. Interesting. It's getting weird. You know, I don't think there's gonna be a -2 here.
To open the mind, you must first open the heart.
But now we're basically always chasing it. If they have any spells, we're screwed. And we need. Oh, don't you dare! Thanks. It doesn't do much good when you only have 1 spell in hand. Enters tapped, and maybe that's what screwed them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it did not. Okay, this is kind of what we were talking about. Against even.
Cease this noise.
Deep breaths. It's weird. They're basically top decking. They have a lot of available mana, though, is the thing. Are you serious? We can take the kill, they can't block.
I misjudged our communication.
We're at 20 life. We're doing 7. Or sorry, 5. They're doing. Oh my. Are you serious? What a top deck. Wow.
I prefer a peaceful resolution, but I'll fight if I must. Strike
Better been a land.
Mind.
Ha! This sucks. Nothing good. We get hit for 12 next turn if we block. Are you serious? Are you serious, bro? Woo! I guess, we could kill the Shark Typhoon, but can we just aggro them out before then? I think we're on the play, right? And, wow. Annoying. This looks nice. 3 land, plus we have our lava brink, like 1, 2, 3, and then 4. If this doesn't work, nothing will. Well, you know, the Hallowblade's really nice against these control decks. Like, it's so good against control decks. Just kind of not taking all the damage we could get here, missing 1, but I think it's more important to try to save the Aspirant. We can interrupt the damage this turn with the dog, and then next turn it's at 3, which, you know, still doesn't quite survive everything. We could Maul to get away from it, right? There's no white source in play. Yeah, they're just gonna make us go for it. Let's stack up, go to 4. Now we survive. And that's pretty good damage output as well. Here's that removal. There could be a counterspell here, I don't doubt it. We're getting around Wari's Disruption with our Castle Ardenvale, so they would need to use a negate. Or a bounce spell. We have lethal next turn, if there's no disruption. That's their 4th land. Is there a shatter? Probably. No. Narset can't do 7 damage. Shark Typhoon only costs 6. It would have to be Amira's Call for 7. No. What? Good game. We go to 8. That was nice and quick. 75% win rate within Mythic. Not too shabby. We're gonna toss this hand. We're not doing anything until turn 4. We might have turn 2 Disruption, but what do we need all that land for? Well, I guess any of these spells. We're gonna have to mulligan one more time. Are you serious? Keeping 4. This is a bad joke. Wow, all because we didn't want to keep too many land off the start. Alright. We're gonna keep the land in play, just play the Savior. Jeskai. Oh no, they got big moves to make if they're not cracking that passage this turn. Screw it. Let's hit for 5. Down to 13. Okay, they just crack it at the end. That's good. I was getting worried. I was like, oh no. Some double drop landfall shenanigans. I think it's still gonna be Omnath because they pulled the plains. Giant pulls mountain, I assume. Or swamp. Mountain, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna get weird. Down to 7. Omnath hits play, they gain 4 life. If it's a passage, that sucks. No Cobra in play, and it's not a passage. Save that for next turn. Up to 11, somehow that's fair. We could crack this off last turn. Don't we just go for it at a certain point? They should kill Venerable Knight. Okay. I mean, that's 5 unmitigated damage. Well, I guess it was mitigated a little bit. And they're gonna gain 4 of it back. Oh! This is still a match somehow. Back to 10. Oh, so silly. Should have played the land first to skip the disruption, but it's just kamikaze mission at this point. That's a good block for us. Still hit for 6. No! chess game. Especially if they're dropping lands. Omnath is so stupid. Why is that not a 5-drop? Literally, why is that not a 5-drop? Silly. For 4, that's like absolutely ridiculous. We used to think Questing Beast was busted. Like, Questing Beast could just hit you every turn. Just bring it on home, beastie boy. All I have to do is play a land. Not like I only have 25 of those in my deck. 25, gain 4 life spells. Hey, that's not so shabby. We need them and not to drop a land. I don't know if we can survive to get a 3rd Legion Angel out and then do that big hit for 12. Like, we do get in for 4 next turn, and they so luckily scooped our other Angel. Oh, Fate of the board! Yeah, the little wish board. Cool. Cool. You know, so much for an aggro match. I think we're already over 5 minutes. Really? You think that's responsible? Oh, you are such an individual. We're not getting around this beanstalk giant at that point, you know what I mean? We got nothing. So that's really upsetting to me. Priest can come in. Yeah, I guess the Archon's probably pretty good. The Apparition's really good for us. I don't think there's lots of removal, so our Shepherd can go. Is the Casket relevant? Only if they drop a snake. I don't think they will. Yikes, right? That's not ever really fun at turn 4 Omnath. Like, wow. We would have had them dead to rights, but they were just gaining so much life every turn. So they know that they need to get right to their sideboard and find that wipe. They need Omnath to survive, and they need that wipe right away. We also had to mulligan down to 4. Let's keep that in mind, right? Like, that was punishment enough. And then to come up against the worst deck in the meta. What's for dessert? Tasty stuff. So I think we keep Giant Killer and we just use our Aspirant here. Remember, they gain 4 life every land drop. Every turn. Not every land drop, but first one every turn. Okay, first passage in play. This is not the worst. Alright, hitting for 6 here. Down to 11. This feels a lot better. Right? We have our Giant Killer chopped down ready for when Omnath hits. We should be good. Next turn we hit for 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, they're going wide. Alright, we just spread it all around. They can block the 2 3s and only take 7. Interesting. We want to kill the Venerable Knight. That's fine. It loses their draw engine. I think even if Omnath hits, we are GTG. Sploosh. Okay, that was a little bit quicker than the first round, right? And we just need it to play out the exact same way. That giant killer is annoying. I think we keep it though. Let's let it rip. We could get a good string. A Grateful Apparition or whatever it's called, the Skyclave Apparition. That'll be nice. No, but we do get our Hallowblades. Our opponent goes first. Hopefully we can pick up a 1-drop off the top of our library. That would be ideal. Our opponent's thinking about their draw hand still. Hopefully they mulligan down to 4, right? That would be ideal for us. We need to keep this to kill Omnath. It is what it is. Yeah, I would love to play a 1-drop, but those giant killers just need to stay in hand. We would play it and immediately get burnt by it. I know it. Wow, Cobra sucks. We can scoop it. Like, if they play it this turn and we can just immediately scoop it, that could be, you know, a pickup by them. Yeah, they're going for it. Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? Okay, Clover, no Omnath. Interesting. Interesting. The plot thickens. It's that giant stomp that's annoying, but now we have our Savior out, which is good. Innkeeper's annoying. That's a draw engine. This could be Omnath here too. No, a black. Okay, they just don't use it. Hallowblade in. Another Savior in. Land and tapped. I'll trade with both of those creatures. I ain't scared. Toss the land. We're not going to get there. We only have 4 in play. Cobra's Gonzo. Right? We're relatively safe. They only have 4 mana on board, 3 in hand with a draw engine. Whoops. Okay, so we see a passage in play. Deep breaths. Our turn. Oh. Billy. Oh, Billy! Should we take the draw engine or the Clover? I think we take the draw engine. Right? They just get a 1/1. They only have 2 cards. They only have 2 cards. They only have 2 cards! Let's start going in on this Hallowblade because we know we can relatively protect them. Wow. So we have to lose both of our saviors here, I think. Interesting. Saving the giant killer. You know what it's about. We need to keep those attack lanes open. We We hit for what, 11 here? We get close. We got close. All right. Hold your breath. What's this top deck? It's not an Ugin. Actually, I hope it is an Ugin, you know? Something they can't play. Typically, these adventure players have used the Beanstalk Giant's Fertile Footsteps so many times that they got about 33 land in play. %77% win rate within Mythic. Just crushing out those matches, right? We're at top 1400 now. Yesterday, we closed the day out at like the top 1000. And Mythic is a grindy place, and this is the deck to do it with, in my opinion. Very easy, very consistent, and very quick wins within Mythic rank in Magic the Gathering Arena. Woof. I can't believe we can shut down all of these top decks and not win against a free-to-play cycling deck. Absolutely incredible, right? The testament of the free-to-play availability and viability, I should say, within Ikoria Lair of Behemoths is incredible. If you guys are new to the game, yeah, obviously farm the new packs, sure, it's fun. Ikoria is where it's at, though. You get the cycling deck, you get the mutate deck. These are two of the strongest free-to-play decks I've seen as a Magic the Gathering Arena player in a long time. The consistency and the power level is just through the roof, and it's not uncommon to see them within some of the top Mythic ranks just wiling out, right? 0 Mythics, 0 rares, just going absolutely crazy. If you're interested in any free-to-play content, check out my channel. I've got boatloads of it for you guys. You know, free-to-play decks every single week that are brand new, and we also have the top Mythic decks as well. Your boy's in Mythic for the season, so we're going to be crushing it, and I'm going to try to make a brand new free-to-play Mythic rank deck for you guys if I can do my darndest and you know, totally get back into the flow of creating content for you guys again. So again, thank you all for your support within the last few days. It's been tough, and you've all made a difference. Thank you kindly, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share to a friend, bell icon for later, and Twitch, Patreon, YouTube, Amazon link for support. You know the schedule. At the very minimum, it's every morning at 6 a.m. Mountain Standard on YouTube, and then we'll go from there. We might be on Twitch after that, and we'll probably be on YouTube again in the evening. At the very least, you're going to get it in the morning. The rest is icing and cherries on our cake. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Go watch yourselves another video, and we'll talk to you again soon.